Welcome back. The CEO of Enterprise Nigeria is here with us, Obi Ibekwe. Now, we're here to talk about youth development for nation building and so much more. It's great to have you in the studio with us.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
I'm wondering what makes you and your platform so passionate about this particular theme?
Well, EnterpriseNGR advocates for the development of the financial services sector, which we see as a catalyst for economic development. But we soon realized that we cannot have a economic growth that we're driving for if we don't have a skilled workforce.
Of course.
And who will be that skilled workforce for our trillion naira, economy that we're aspiring, to?
Sure.
It's our youth.
Of course.
And we need to start doing something about that now for the future, for us to realize the future.
So we have some really large statistics here. 70% of the population presently just happen to be youth. And that is actually a very large figure. It's a lot more. It's a lot more than when we think about it. I'm wondering why, as at right now, we've not been able to harness, making sure that these youth are being put in proper positioning to thrive in the society right now.
So that 70%, it can be a blessing.
Okay.
It can be a problem. And whether it's a blessing or a problem depends on what we do in the interim to develop our youth. Our youthful population is actually a strong potential for Nigeria and Nigeria's economy. But unfortunately, there are other things that we need to do to ensure that these youth can contribute meaningfully to Nigeria's growth and economy. The major part is education. Today, many of our youth don't have access to quality education.
Out of that 70%?
Out of that 70%.
What percentage do have access at this point?
Well, I would say I don't want to put a figure to it, because, data, reliable data in Nigeria is a bit challenging. But I would say that not the majority of that 70% really do not have access to quality education. And that's as a result of the state of our public education system. So if your parents are doing well, you go to private schools. But if you rely on going, primary, secondary, and you get into the universities, if you can, on our public schools, I'm sure you and I know the state of those schools. Some of them are under the mango tree. Some of them don't have desks. Some of them have to walk miles to get to any type of school. So these are challenges. So access to quality education, so as a result of poor infrastructure, poor learning resources, poorly trained teachers, it limits a lot of our youth, many of them.
I'm thinking about the investment that's presently required. And investing in our youth right now seems to be one of the ways people can contribute. But it's all about long-term national progress and stability. What's your take on this?
I think all hands need to be on deck. Okay. The government, the private sector, the universities, academia, all hands need to be on deck. But the most important thing is, what are we doing with the graduates that we are, the universities are spewing out now? What you find is that they come out, they're not fully prepared or equipped to enter the workplace. Many of them lack employability, what we call employability skills or soft skills. So skills like critical thinking, communication skills, emotional intelligence. These are skills that are not taught in our universities, but are very, very important with being successful in the workplace. Sure. And that is where our Youth of Enterprise internship program is intervening.
I was just going to touch on that now, because what exactly is it that Enterprise NG is doing right now? I know it's all about harnessing that untapped potential.
Absolutely.
But what exactly is happening now?
So EnterpriseNGR is its own contribution to solving this massive problem that Nigeria has with developing our youth, has identified a particular area. There are many programs that are addressing entrepreneurship, channeling youths in that direction, but there are not very many that are preparing them for the workplace, to support industry, etc. So that's where we are playing with our Youth of Enterprise internship program. Okay. So we've set up a program that is technology-driven, and trains youth on employability skills. These skills such as critical thinking, problem-solving skills, emotional intelligence, communication skills. These are, skills that support lifelong learning and success in the workplace. And then once they're trained, we go the extra mile to place them in internships. Why? Because that work experience, that exposure to the workplace is so important to make them work ready for employers. And what we're finding is that once our interns, are exposed to employers and they work with them for 6 months, they end up being retained. So as we speak, we've trained over 2,000 graduates and, placed them in high-value internships. Now, it's not internship to go and buy. When you get there, they will say, go and buy me lunch or go and, no, it's high-value internship where they, we work with employers to ensure that they have the good experience that they need to position them for,
which is definitely important in this
to
time.
Start their careers. Exactly.
Everyone is looking for a leg up, looking for a position, a space, just an opportunity. And being in these environments is extremely important. But then what about the stakeholders here, the private sector stakeholders? How exactly can they address some of these issues? So in terms of unlocking the full potential of Nigeria's youth for this development, we need to, sort of ensure that we're positioning everything right and speaking to the right people.
Yes. So we're partnering with the private sector. Like I said, all hands need to be on deck. The private sector needs to work with academia more closely and vice versa, to ensure that the curriculum, what is being taught in our universities, meets market demand. Because you find that a lot of young people these days graduate and, with skills that are no longer relevant to, the economy and makes it difficult for them to find jobs. So that connect will help, ensure that when young people graduate, they are graduating with skills that are in demand by employers. Then the government, of course, managing our macroeconomic environment, more efficiently, such that there's job creation, etc. Because the more jobs there are, the more we can harness the potential of our youth. So
of course, we are definitely going to be looking out for what Enterprise NG is working on and following up with you on these projects. And if you have any more information for us, where can we get it?
On our Youth of Enterprise website, yes. Exactly. You just go on there, log on. You don't have to, when you graduate, you don't have to give your CV to your uncle or to your auntie trying to connect with premium companies. Just log on there. And if you're a serious graduate that wants to green start your career, Youth of Enterprise NGR website is a place to go, and you start your life.
Thank you very much for joining us again, Obi Ibekwe.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, so you heard it here. You might not have to, dust off your CV and send it to your auntie and uncle. Just visit Youth of Enterprise NG and find out exactly what you could learn or where you could fall in.